We welcome none other than the Samus main that brings a tear to your eye and joy to your heart. Hugo Hugs Gonzalez. Hugo, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Did you enjoy our hard-hitting questions? Or none were too hard
No,
for
I
you, were they?
did. I like the video. It's pretty sweet. I didn't realize that you guys decided to film Shroomed like 5 feet below like street level, so he looked like he was extra short. Like there were 4-year-old kids walking by him, and he looked shorter than they did. So it was interesting.
It was weird because we actually asked him, "Hey, can you come over here and we'll ask you some questions?" And he just sat down on a bench, and we're like, all right, I guess we'll just go with it. And so we ended up shooting him on a bench. So he looks like he's like 5
Oh, was
feet
he
tall.
sitting down?
He was, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
I mean, he's not like, no offense to Shroom, but he's not a super tall guy to begin with. So
Nah, he's not.
sitting down on a bench was a rookie mistake.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we're super happy to have Hugs on the show. Excited to talk to somebody who isn't a Fox player. They're so hard to find these days. I'm looking at you, Armada. And of course, we're not just here to show hilarious videos and talk about how short Shroomed is. We're here to talk about your questions from the SmashBros AMA thread. If you're not familiar with the format, every week we give one of Smash's best and brightest to our Smash Brothers, and the mods over there very graciously put up a thread for us, sticky it to the front page. It's in that little word bubble next to the sandbag. You may have seen it before. You put your favorite questions in there, upvote your favorites, downvote the ones that you don't give a shit about, and then we ask them live every Thursday to the pros themselves. Hugs, are you ready
Yes.
for all the memery that the community has to offer?
Yeah, so do you guys always just go with the most voted, the highly voted ones? Is that what it is?
We for a while we tried like switching it up to try to grab more interesting questions, and people got upset, as people often do on the internet. So we decided
okay.
what the people want to hear is what they voted for.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we did leave out the top post, which was not a question. It was just the word "yeah." Really long. So you know what? Let's turn that into a question. Why was that the top voted question in your AMA thread?
The internet is an interesting place, man. It's full of memes and strange people, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it does not surprise me either. Well, if you're looking for memes, we're just getting started. You tuned into the right stream, and our top voted actual question comes to us from Minimuse, who wants to know the age-old question: fuck, marry, kill Ken, Chudat, and Nintendude.
Ooh, I would like to say I read the thread and prepared for this question in particular, but I completely missed it. I knew there would probably be some kind of fuck, marry, kill question, but I would fuck Chudat. He's the most attractive of the three. I would marry Nintendude, because I think I could run that household. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be wearing the pants, and then I would kill Ken. Like, he's a good guy, but if I have to kill someone, I mean, I guess I'll kill Ken.
Well, and plus, Nintendude's got that cushy job at Twitch. You know, he's an independent woman. He can take
he's
care of
making
himself.
money, right? He's making money. And, he's got jerseys I could wear at night while he's out at work and shit. You know what I mean? So we're good. I would do that one. I would marry Nintendude and have sex with Chudat, but I'm the dominant one there. So
I'm sorry, Ken. You just didn't make the list. Not this time. And by the way, thank you so much to our loyal viewers who have made us the destination for fuck, marry, kill questions in this community. It's a badge we wear proudly. Now on to the more hard-hitting questions. This next one comes from the Blue Crab. The Blue Crab wants to know, what are the main differences between 2016 Hugs and 2010 Hugs?
The main difference between 2016 Hug and 2010 Hugs is that I've kind of forced myself to update with the technical metagame that's going on today. I'm definitely more technically proficient than I used to be, and I have some tricks like aerial interrupts and I don't know, crap like that I wasn't really showing off back in those days. But maybe it's more so that I just care a whole lot more about making this a career than I did before.
Now, the real question is, because you say that you've updated with the meta, you've probably learned some new techniques between now and then, and yet you're still playing Samus in some capacity. What do you feel that Sam, and I'm probably stepping on somebody's question here, but I have to know, do you think Samus still has a place in this meta?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that as we all get better, so people always ask, and it's probably going to be another question, but do you think Samus will move up on the tier list? The answer is probably no. She's probably going to be exactly where she is, but it's just more of the tier list will become viable, right? Rather than like 5 or 6 super viable characters, you're going to end up having like 10 to 11. That's the future that I see. And Samus is going to be a part of that. She's not going to end up being better than like Jigglypuff out of nowhere, right? But she could be played a whole lot better, and I feel that that's going to happen in the coming years for sure. But I play her because when I lose, it's not her fault. It is my fault. I don't look like, if you guys saw my match with Disc Kid Boogie, when I did that tilt and he air dodged in place and then grabbed me and then wobbled me, that has nothing to do with Samus. Absolutely nothing to do with Samus. That was my decision, and I lost because of it. And I could look at a lot of my matches, and my losses are decision-based, not character-based. As long as your character has options, then you're good.
I have to say I respect that. You're a man who stands up for his lady. You take responsibility. That's I'm really proud of that. So then the question is, there's a lot of people talking about tier lists, putting Fox in a tier of his own, saying 20XX. We've all heard the jokes. We've all heard the memes. But the fact remains that there's a lot of people out there who are putting in serious work at sort of elevating new characters in this game that is, 16 years old. Do you think it's just a matter of Samus being sort of optimized and played to perfection? Is it just take people putting time into Samus as well as these other low tier characters, or do you think there's something else that's going to change the meta?
No, I honestly think it's just putting more time into the character and optimizing the options that we already know about. I don't think we're going to discover something just game breaking and brand new about the character. That's going to happen like once every 2 years from now on, but it's more about just perfecting what we already have and maximizing some punishes, things like that. Nothing brand new.
All right, so you're here to hear first. All you have to do is work.
Extender and Super Wave Dash is not going to change the Samus game. Everyone needs to calm the fuck down.
But they look cool, and when somebody pulls them off, it's certainly exciting, even if it doesn't actually accomplish anything.
I guess y'all can watch the Arcadians if you want to see that shit, but it's not going to happen at the big tournaments.
Well, regardless, it's still cool to hear that there are pro players like yourself out there who believe that it's not just a matter of picking the right character; it's a matter of optimizing a character you believe in. I think that's something we can all be really excited about.
Yep.
Moving on to our next question. This one comes from Mick Unleashed. Mick Unleashed wants to know, after 10 years of exposure, how much of a tolerance have you developed for the Chudat pose?
Oh, God. 0, dude. It is my most hated thing to see in the world. But you know what? It's funny because I feel like Chudat has recognized that I've been getting mad at it lately, because the last time we played, and he destroyed me at the Pound Salty Sweet. And usually, before he shakes my hand, he does his yes thing. And this time, he started putting his hand up, and then he stopped, and then he gave me a pound first, and then he did the yes pose. So I think he's realizing that, one of these days, like, it might get ugly if he does it, if he disrespects me with it one more time. But definitely don't want to ever see that pose again. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, give credit where credit is due. I've heard that Chudat's developing some new Chudat pose tech, including trying to wobble one-handed so he can do the Chudat pose at the same time. At least that's what Nintendo tells me.
Or finding, like, new women to take pictures with after he beats me. I got a funny joke with that, by the way.
Please, you have the floor.
No. I don't know if no. I'm gonna save it. Hold on. No. We're gonna.
You can't just. That's like saying. I have this incredible story in front of your friend. They'd be like, nah, never mind.
He took a picture with a girl after he had beat me at one point, and that girl and I are now talking. So the loser ended up, winning in the end. You know what I'm saying? All right. Continue. Go ahead. Next question.
Want to get as far away from that story as possible.
Next question.
Your wish is my command. This next question comes from the Nabby, or Thenaby, or however you pronounce it. Welcome to the show at Thenaby. If you could sum up the style differences between each of the main Samuses, meaning Plup, Duck, and you, in a few sentences, what would you say? I love hearing you talk about style and nuance in Melee.
Okay, if I were to have to define each of the 3 Samuses, I'd say Duck is he's focused on reaction-based and optimized gameplay. I'm focused more so on neutral-based feel-type gameplay. And Plup is just super technical, quick, and overwhelming gameplay. So he's very aggressive, very fast, and very technical. So I think that's the big difference between us three. I'm very neutral base and feel base, and conditioning and all that. Duck is all reaction optimization.
So it sounds like even though Samus is sort of low on a lot of people's tier list, there's actually quite a bit of flexibility in how you play her. Why do you think that? Yeah, go ahead.
So the reason that happens is because Samus is not the type of character that you can play to the book. There is no book on Samus because the book does not work. You need to apply your own style, and whether or not you consider Duck or Plup a conditioner, they kind of are. And a lot of the way Samus has to play this game is a bit more abstract than Fox, right? There's a definite punish for Fox, and there isn't one for Samus. So people have gotten creative with Samus, and that's why I laugh at the idea when someone says, "Oh, I have a lot of Samus experience. I should be able to deal with Hugs or with Duck or with Plup." But you constantly see players from that Samus's region getting fucked up by the other Samus, because it doesn't matter how much you play a Samus, you don't really know how to fight Samus, because we don't play the game the same kind of way that a lot of other characters play it. And I honestly believe that's true. That's why it's not a coincidence that every single Samus is so different. It's not a coincidence. But that could also be our fault. Maybe once we start optimizing, things will become more standardized. But for now, it's not. We all are doing our own thing, and playing the game our own way because we've had to. There's never been a clear answer with Samus, and we've all come up with it on our own.
So then the question is, do you think there's any benefit for you, Plup, Duck, and other strong Samus players out there to sort of get together, have a meeting of the minds, and try to borrow your analogy, write that book and establish how Samus can be played at a top level?
Yeah, and we do. For the most part, we do talk to each other every once in a while and say, "Yo, why do you do this?" or "How do you deal with this?" But at the same time, we're also all very stubborn. So I've argued with Duck about aerial interrupt grab for so long, and he's so stubborn. He says that's the stupidest thing. I don't believe in it, and I always have to ask him, like, what the fuck is the difference between this and a regular standing grab? There's no difference. It's just another mix-up. And so he doesn't accept that, and then I disagree with some of his ideas. So yeah, we're definitely all we help each other, but then we also disagree on a bunch of ways that Samus should be played. So
the obvious extension question of that is, why have so many Samuses risen up all of a sudden? If the book doesn't exist, if everybody's playing different, if everybody's like sort of finding their own styles, what's changed about the meta that's allowed Samus to sort of rise up through the ranks in the way we've seen in the past 6 to 8 months?
Nothing. I don't think anything in the meta has changed for us to rise up. I just think that the players who have decided to pick up Samus are just talented. So Duck's a really good player. He's just talented. Plup is very talented. For a long time, it was just me for like 5+ years just playing Samus alone. And then out of nowhere, Plup and Duck came by because this is a character that's harder to get good with, right? It's harder to get good with Samus. So
GUD, yep.
Yeah. So it's taken a while, but now they're here, and they're becoming more popular. And still, we only have, I'd say, 3 very prominent Samus players, and then we have other really good ones like Esam, Daryl, Minty Flesh, but they're coming up, and it just takes something else to be good with Samus, not just do I drill wave shines up smash this shit, or do I do like there's the answers aren't as clear to be good with Samus. So it takes a little longer, but she's a good character and she could definitely hang.
So then my question becomes, if it's not a change in the characters or how people are playing the game necessarily, is it maybe how people are approaching the game? Because it seems like with each character we see people sort of applying a process, shall we say, a way of looking at characters and looking at Smash that's sort of elevating characters. Is it just that the sort of prevalence of people thinking about optimization instead of just tier lists and matchups?
Yeah, that definitely has something to do with it. I mean, if you're just playing this game to be good, you're looking at what all kinds of players are doing for other characters, and you're going to try to apply it to your own character, right? So if Drugged Fox is thinking in terms of, I need a down throw tech chase perfectly, then I'm going to start thinking I need to down tilt tech chase perfectly. And it's going to affect a lot of play from a lot of different people. no matter what character you're playing. So I think Samus is just developing as a result of that, not because Samus has changed recently. I don't think so.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of work for people to put in, and a lot of mindset has to do with that, and that's encouraging for the growth of the game, certainly.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next question. This one comes from Freya SC. Welcome back to the show, Freya SC. I couldn't forget you. Asks, what do you miss the most from the golden age of Melee? What do you not miss?
I miss absolutely nothing from the golden age of Melee. The golden age of Melee was trash. No, so the players were pieces of shit, and the okay, no. Look. Let me explain. So, the golden age of Smash, it was cool, and it was how we grew. But everything now is just infinitely better. Straight up. Everything's better. I mean, I'm talking about an era where you had people bragging about how much money they made at a tournament, bragging about how little they practiced before they won a tournament, bragging about how little they know about it, about the game. And that was all bullshit, and it needed to go away. And it went away when players like Mewtwo King came around and said, yo, I'm going to work really hard at this game, and I'm winning. And then even then, people were like, oh, you're such a nerd. Like, look how hard you work. And then people like me and people like a few other people were like, yeah, but he's still winning. Do you want to win, or do you want to be the cool guy who just acts like he doesn't care? So the game kind of went away from that era thanks to people like Mewtwo King and thanks to people that wanted to put in work, right? So I don't miss the old days. I don't miss the playing in garages. I don't miss, acting like you don't care about the game, or acting like it doesn't matter if you win or not as long as the paycheck is good. Like, I don't care for any of that, and I don't like any of that, and that's why I'm one of the only old school players who's still around, because I never bought into that shit, and I surpassed it.
Yeah, it's interesting to sort of argue that the golden age of Melee isn't right now. I mean, there's the possibility of leagues popping up. There's all this great circuit of tournaments that are getting bigger and bigger. People are evolving.
Possibilities of leagues coming up? What are you talking about, sir?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know what to tell you, man.
What are you saying?
I actually off the record. Good thing we aren't live, right? Moving on to our next question. This one comes to you from Drakester 234. Drakester wants to know, Hugs, your stream has been awesome for the past 7 or 8 months. I've been subscribed. How do you plan on growing it some more?
Well, first of all, thank you for subscribing, and growing it some more. I'm not sure yet. I know that there are things that could be doing better, but the fundamental basis of my stream has been I need to have fun while I'm streaming, and I need to do whatever I think is right to give my chat a good, give them a good time. As far as things that I could definitely upgrade that will not affect that includes quality of my stream, right? I could get a better camera, better mic, all kinds of things. I could also dip into other games where I could portray my personality to other scenes so that they all join in on this, kind of like Mango does, right? He's got people that follow him from Counter-Strike, people that follow him from the Culling and the other games that he does. So that's my next move, is to expand into other games and try to find a way where my personality shines through with or without Melee. Though Melee is always going to be the focus, right? Because that's my game. But that's my goal. That's my hope for growing my stream.
We talked a little bit earlier in the office about how there seems to be sort of two sorts of things that people look for on Twitch, especially, and sometimes they overlap. One is obviously great personality, magnanimity, a lot of connection with the chat, and the other one seems to be just a lot of pro player knowledge. So you see people on either end of the spectrum. You got guys like Co-Carnage who have a ton of personality and bring in a lot of viewers, and then you have guys like Dyrus, who's a little bit more demure, but he knows a lot about the game and he's very popular, so people watch it. Do you think you have an opportunity to sort of overlap those two and combine knowledge and charisma?
Oh, no, I definitely think I do. I think that part of my success in streaming lately has been the fact that I can carry... I have a personality, right? But at the same time, I'm also a top player, and I can also talk about the game, and it kind of blends in a way that a lot of players cannot really do. I'd say a lot of the top players, they all have personalities, but are they...
Next question comes from Live for Evil. Live for Evil wants to know... I'm sorry.
Them know, maybe. At least for now, everyone could work on it, right? But it's definitely an advantage for me to be able to be a top player, know what I'm talking about, know the players that I'm talking about, and also entertain people by being funny or whatever it is I do.
I'm not gonna lie. This has been a fantastic advertisement for your stream. The way you describe it, I'm like, I want to tune into this shit.
You know? You should check it out. You might have a good time.
I absolutely will. Well, we look forward to seeing what you bring out. So our next question comes from Live for Evil. Live for Evil wants to know. I'm sorry, he doesn't want to know. He wants to say, "Hey, Hugs." And then he wants to ask, looking at old tournaments, I saw you ended up getting second at EVO 2007, which is pretty insane. What was the bracket like, and what led you to getting second over other top players like Chudat, PC Chris, M2K, and an upcoming Mango?
So the bracket was kind of wonky in the early parts of the bracket where it was best of one, right? So you would actually random do a stage and best of one it. So you could end up on a counterpicked stage and then lose, right? Well, fortunately, Mewtwo King got knocked out by Mango and Chillin' Dude. Wait, was it Chillin' Dude too? No, Mango knocked out Chillin' Dude and Mewtwo King. Never mind. But oh no, Chillin' Dude did beat him. Okay, but anyway, Mewtwo King got knocked out of the tournament based on these rule sets. But whatever, it is what it is. But once it got into the top 8, it was best of 3, normal stuff. I ended up beating PC Chris in winners semis, and then I beat Mango in winners finals. And for ages, Mango has been saying that he wasn't trying at that tournament, which I say is bullshit because you don't counterpick your best stage if you're not trying. Okay, you could be playing bad, and that's one thing, but you could also, that's way different from not trying. So he played bad, and I beat him, and then he got fucked up by Ken, and then Ken ended up winning 2 sets to beat me back. So, I mean, it is what it is. I haven't lost to Ken at all in the new era, so happy about that, I guess.
We all know Mango's a great guy, but we also know that he likes to act like he does it effortlessly, but we know he works hard. Hard. Absolutely. And as somebody who was at EVO last year and seeing just the size of the center where all of the games were located, seeing the incredible number of people trying to cram my ass into a spot next to the CRT where Smash was going on. It's an enormous event, but I have to ask, what was it like back in 2007? How far has EVO come in that regard?
In terms of the tournament experience, I mean, it's just a little more crowded, but I'd say it still feels the same in the way they run it. Obviously, it's a little better now, but it's actually more so changed in the fact that they care about us more and they treat us more like equals than they did before. We don't feel like a side event anymore. We feel like one of the main events. So that's definitely changed, and that's great from EVO.
Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of the same crowd sitting there for Street Fighter V that also watched Smash, and just a lot of common ground to be made. I know that we'll have reached a final peace treaty with the fighting games world when they call us a fighting game as well.
Yeah.
Still waiting for that day. We'll see when that happens. Moving on to our next question. This one comes from Pikachu942. Pikachu942 wants to know, how did you feel getting up to grand finals in winter side at EVO 2007, then the biggest Melee tournament of all time? And how did it feel to have it snatched away from you by Ken? This is savage.
No, it's fine. I wrote a whole blog about how it was both the best I've ever played and the worst I've ever felt about a result. Where a week or two prior to that, I was talking to another guy named JV3 who he invented the term JV3 stock, JV4 stock, etc. And I was telling him that all I really want with my Smash career is to win a national, because this is what we would call them back then, right? Our biggest tournaments were nationals. We didn't have such things as internationals, but I wanted to win one, and then I would retire, and that was my plan. And I said this right before EVO, where it was actually in my sights, and I could have done it. It would have been the biggest tournament of all time, over the best player of all time. As a Samus, it would have been great. But I didn't do it. And in a way, I'm kind of grateful in retrospect, just because it kept me in the game. If I had done it right then and there, you probably would never see me again. I might have been gone. I might have tried doing something else, etc. Right? But because I didn't do it, I stuck around, and here I am today, trying to still somehow do it again.
So really, it just made you hungry to sort of get back to the summit and prove it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. I do love that after having a prestigious guest, one of our questions is, how did it feel that one time when you felt like shit? Wasn't that awful? I'll bet that was awful.
Yeah, those kinds of questions happen a lot, I'm sure.
It all depends on the guest. The follow-up to that question was also, do you feel EVO 2007 is your biggest tournament performance ever? And if not, what is?
No, probably not. I'd say my biggest performance ever. Well, it's up there, but my favorite tournament win ever was, like I said in that interview that you guys had, was the UCLA 5, and it was then considered the last tournament before Brawl, because we didn't know what a new game would be. We thought it definitely meant the end for Melee. So when this game debuted the Tuesday after this tournament, so it was largely considered the last big tournament for Melee. There's like 190 people, which is huge at the time. And I ended up getting first, defending the West Coast, defending SoCal. So I thought that was one of my favorite wins of all time, for sure.
And as we all know, Brawl was an incredible competitive success, and people have adopted it and left Melee in the dust. It's
excellent game.
Excellent game. Excellent. Our next question is actually from Gorillas BMX6, combining a couple interests there. How do you feel about your role as the grown-ass man of the Smash community?
So it's kind of like, it's funny. Well, one, I don't embrace it at all. I don't care for it. To be called a grown-ass man of the Smash community, but I understand that I kind of am, right? I have my shit together most than a lot of other players do. I have better taste than a lot of other players. Like, I don't want to eat 7-Eleven hot dogs my whole life. You know what I mean? Like, these are how other Smashers live, and that's cool. I don't want to sleep on a fucking floor. I don't want to sleep in a basement. And I had a job. I graduated college. I have my shit together more than a lot of players do. But at the same time, they're calling me this as a way to insult me and say that I'm old, right? Where I am older than a lot of other players, which is crazy to me, thinking that I started this game when I was 18, which is considered a young age. But now in my older age, because I've been around for so long, everyone's like, "Oh, you're so old." And yet, for some reason, I'm the one without health problems. I'm the one who's not like struggling to climb stairs, etc. So like, everyone's talking shit, but I'm probably gonna be an actual younger person, even when, even while I'm like a couple years older than you. So it is what it is. But it's kind of funny.
Based on the number of injuries that are happening, I'm beginning to think that Fox was sort of Sakurai's little joke, and just to destroy players. He's like, if you want to play Fox at a high level, get ready to have arthritis for the rest of your life. By the way,
I'm Tim Duncan, dude. I'm gonna have a very long and healthy career. I'm gonna be all right because of Samus.
Just make sure you're Tim Duncan and not Steve Nash, because that poor man ended up with no chips when it was all said and done.
Oh no, Steve Nash. No.
He was my favorite. He was one of my favorite NBA players, and not just because, but mainly because he was a Phoenix Sun, but also because he did crazy things. And it was difficult as a Suns fan to watch him come this close to the championship so many years in a row. I'm getting off track because I'm triggered. Moving on to our next question. Our next one comes from John R754. John R754 wants to know, would you ever willingly switch to a character like Sheik, which is what Plup did? Oh, and will you ever use MTC against a player like Armada or Mewtwo King?
Well, I would switch to a character like Sheik when I honestly felt that I was lacking options, and when I am no longer having fun with the character. So I have a lot of fun with Samus, and a lot of times I lose. I could blame it on my decision making rather than just the options that I had. Granted, Sheik would be way easier for sure, but I don't play for that. If I look at a situation and I made the wrong choice, I don't want my character to cover that wrong decision, which is what a lot of other characters do, right? Sheik is notorious for going for like a shitty forward air and then missing, but then covering it with the back air, right? I don't have those options. I got to make the right choice the first time. Until the day that bothers me enough, or until the day that I find out that people are so good that I just do not have options anymore. And I'm talking characters like Ganon and Luigi, who now have to live that life. When Samus falls into that life, then I might consider it. But until then, I just need to get good. I just need to get better. So
Yeah,
And so,
it's amazing how a good character could sort of cover up your shortcomings as a player. And of course, I'm talking to Austin, our intern who beat me at Smash earlier. Stop picking Fox, you cheap motherfucker. Question is, you say that there are characters that have sort of run out of options. You said Luigi is one of them, but Abate seemed to do well. Ganondorf was one. Bizarro Flame did a little bit of work before he retired to become a lawyer. What other characters? What other characters are out there? Do you think with so many sort of quote unquote low tier characters coming up through the ranks that will never see that glorious light of day? That'll never break the top tiers.
okay. So I feel that Ganon and Luigi I named those characters because they're a little more well regarded than the other characters that are more obvious. Like clearly Roy is done, right? Roy has no options. Characters that are a little underrated that probably could explore more options are, I feel, Young Link. Maybe even DK, but that's a big maybe. Mario, I think, has some options. Dr. Mario, I feel, is still fine, but it makes me sad to know that Shroomed has given up on the character because I can't argue with him about Doc. He knows better than I do. But I'd say just mostly Luigi and Ganon are pretty limited, and I don't know if they're going to hang as the metagame is developed. And I talked to Abate even at Fight Pit, and he told me that he's going Spaceys not because he wants to relax so much, like that's part of it, but the other part is he feels like he's not improving as much because Luigi is limited. Definitely is. So other characters might start taking their places. So.
I feel like every time we ring the death knell for a character on this show, like thousands of people out there, thousands of like Luigi mains or Ganon mains, like get like a little, like they feel their stomach drop. Like,
oh no, yeah, and it probably sucks to hear someone say that, but they might not believe it. I mean, I don't believe it when people tell me that about Samus, but yeah, I just feel like Luigi and Ganon could just get abused really badly. So it might start turning sour for them soonish.
I mean, but what do you know? You're just a consistent top 16 player.
Yeah.
So. Moving on to our next question. This one comes from Golosh. Golosh, I believe you're a returning viewer, and if you are not, welcome to the show. Golosh wants to know, hey, Hugo, now that you're finally doing a Reddit AMA by the Daily Dot, what is your new position in the sellout rankings? I actually wasn't aware when we wrote this question down that we were a place where you sell out, in which case, congratulations, you've made it.
No, so I have on my stream, one stream I decided to make the sellout rankings, right? Because I was calling people sellouts, and then I decided, you know what, why don't we list them out, right? So if you had to say, on a scale of Isaiah to Kage, how much of a sellout is this person? And like I just picked players to each rating between 0 through 10. And I put myself at 7 in the first update. The second update, I put myself at number 9, and I'm probably going to be number 10 at some point. But Hack's Money was actually, he would have been 0. He would have been 0, but he both owns a Twitter that he actually tweets at, and he did a daily.ama. So these were the two things that made him at least somewhat of a sellout, and I put him at level 1 because of that. So that's why they're asking me that. I don't know if it really puts me into number 10. I'm probably number 9 right now still.
Wait, so I guess I'm confused. Are we a place where people sell out, or are we a people?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
By the act of putting yourself out there, to state your mind and put out your opinions, which you're going to get followers because of that, and things like that, you're being a sellout.
Goes from Tech the Fan. Tech the Fan wants to know, what are your thoughts on Wild Youth?
Oh my god. Okay. No. So this was a meme from my stream where. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking about this. So my computer has been mostly clean on my stream, right? But then one day I decided to scroll down like something on my history to find some closed tab, and then it was just a quick split-second scroll. And then everyone in my chat just decided to screenshot it, and then they found it.
If you want to stay hardcore, and if we want to stay true to your roots, don't come on our show. Otherwise, come on our show. Our next question comes to us from Tech the Fan. Tech the Fan wants to know, what are your thoughts on Wild Youth?
Oh my god. Okay. No. So this was a meme from my stream where. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking about this. So my computer has been mostly clean on my stream, right? But then one day I decided to scroll down like something on my history to find some closed tab, and then it was just a quick like split-second scroll, and then everyone in my chat just decided to screenshot it, and then they found it, and then they've just been spreading it everywhere. Where I happened to click on an adult video at one point in my life. You know, Okay, I'm an adult, all right? I am allowed to look at these things, right? But for some reason, the name of it was like Wild Youth, so now everyone tries to say I'm sponsored by Wild Youth and all this. And look, like, I don't even remember that video. I don't know if it actually involved Wild Youth. I don't know, man. I really don't know. But my stream has just caught on to it, and like now they're all over it. And it's just like, let me be no sponsors because I'm an adult man who decided to watch a video that was a little questionable. I'm sorry.
Pro tip, incognito mode.
No, yeah, no, I know about it now. But everyone told me about it. I know about it now.
That's a beautiful story, and thank you for putting it on our friends and family show.
It's not a beautiful story. It's a tragedy.
Potato. Moving on to our next question. This one comes from Tukes0620. Tukes, welcome to the show. Tukes wants to know, I notice in your stream a lot of the time you really want to let people know Samus is very technical despite being a floaty. Why do you think Samus players don't get a lot of credit despite using a very complex and difficult character?
Okay, so a lot of idiots try to act.
Potato. Moving on to our next question. This one comes from Tukes0620. Tukes, welcome to the show. Tukes wants to know, I notice in your stream a lot of the time you really want to let people know Samus is very technical despite being a floaty. Why do you think Samus players don't get a lot of credit despite using a very complex and difficult character?
Okay, so a lot of idiots try to act. I'm talking about top player idiots try to act like all we do is wave dash back down smash and then crouch cancel down smash, and they need to fucking shut the hell up and try to win a tournament with Samus. Get the fuck out of here. It is way harder than that. I respect Mewtwo because one time we were in a car, right? And then someone asked him, who do you think is the hardest character to play in Melee? And then he goes, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do you mean like winning or do you mean like playing the character? Because if you're talking about winning, then it's probably like Samus. And he actually said Samus, right? And then the guy tried to argue. He's like, no, Samus is like an easy character. He's like, no, you need to try to win with her. If you can't win with her, then it's the hardest character in the game to win with. And and I was just like clapping in the back seat. I'm like, thank you, Mewtwo King, for recognizing the struggle that we go to. Because everyone acts like it's easy, so fucking do it. There's a reason that I played this character for 5 years and no one caught up. Okay, there's a reason there's only 3 players. There are 3 players in the top 20 who play this character. And why is that not inspiring like 10 of them in the top 100? Why? Because it's fucking hard. Like, everyone needs to stop being idiots and recognize that Samus is actually a really hard character to play. And it might not be so much the traditional technical sense. It might be more so in the precision sense, right? In the positioning sense. The kind of things that a lot of other players of other characters don't think about as much as Samus players do, right? Because they don't have to. Because they could just wave shine up smash everyone.
I mean, it seems like ridiculous on the face of it to say that a character that has difficulty winning a tournament would be easy. I mean, by its nature, if it's having a hard time winning, it's probably a difficult character. I mean, I guess, are there easy characters to play that are low tier? I mean, because that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, then, you start getting into the territory of, are they low tier and are they hard to play because they suck? Or are they hard to play because what it takes to win with them is more complicated than what you're used to, right? So characters like Samus are complicated to win with because you do not win with Samus in the traditional way. Okay, you cannot just go in and throw down your tech skill and win. You cannot do that. Ice climbers, you could go in and you could wobble, all right, whatever. Like, that's just different character. But yeah, and then Jigglypuff, you could win by, she doesn't win a whole lot, but she's easy to play to the high level, in my opinion, whereas Samus is not.
Hungrybox sends his regards. Coming up on our next question, ITO topping, or maybe it's I2 topping, I don't know, wants to ask, was losing to Chew multi-tournament conditioning?
It is. I will not lose to Chew for much longer. By the way, no, what it is really is, if you've watched my stream recently, I've only lost to Chew during real wobbling hours. Okay, do you know the real wobbling hours? Do you know what those are?
I'm not familiar with that, no.
It is 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and then 8 p.m. to tournament close. And if you play a wobbler during those hours, you're like 200% more likely to lose to this character. All right, and these are the only times that I have played Chewed at. So I want to play him during non-real wobbling hours. Let's see how it goes.
I assume that's because at the beginning of the day you're not warmed up enough to avoid the wobble, and at the end of the day you're too tired to avoid the wobble.
Yes, okay. Exactly. You got it. Like, you could even see like a player outplaying them in the neutral, and then boom, missed L cancel, wobbled. Fuck. That's just how it goes. All right.
Melee scientists, please get on that. We need some concrete proof. Yeah. Our next question comes from Esam. I'm Esam, who wants to know.
Oh, it's Esam.
Yeah,
okay.
it's Esam. Being a member of the old elite in Super Smash Bros. Melee, what has it been like in your mind seeing all these characters shift around in their potential and the discovery/application of tech that was seemingly useless that long ago?
So, being in my position, seeing characters like Pikachu rise up, characters like Yoshi rise up, it's been a pretty cool experience, and it kind of lets you know that no character is essentially done unless you can. So there are limitations, right? You could look at a character like Roy, and you know that character is done. And it's funny because there was a point where PewPew and Amsa were like tweeting, it's like, I'm going to use Roy at this tournament. I'm going to discover the Roy potential. And I'm just cracking up. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? There's a character who does everything that Roy does, but better. Shut the hell up. Get away. Like, no. Like, the character is designed to be worse than these other characters. Like, it's just design-based, right? Whereas a character like Yoshi, you can look at results before and say, okay, Yoshi does not have potential. But you cannot look at the design and say he doesn't have potential without, if you fully understand the design, you can't say that. You can look at Roy and you know there's no chance. You can look at Young Link. That's why I said Young Link. You can look at Young Link and you know that Young Link might have some potential. Link, not so much. Not so much. Donkey Kong, potential. Zelda, no fucking chance in hell. Okay, so you could definitely look at these characters and figure that out. And it was cool to see it over the years develop from these characters that were written off because they weren't getting results versus, being written off because they do not have the design to be a good character.
Unquestionably, the problem with Zelda, of course, is that it's too hard to run in a dress.
Yeah,
she puts on her tracksuit. She turns into Sheik. I think that speaks for itself. Absolutely.
Hold up, is that sexist? Hold on, watch out, dude.
I don't think so.
Watch out, man.
I'm implying that a female character is strong, but only when she's not in restrictive gender-specific clothing.
DTN, man, DTN. All right, go ahead.
We got time, sadly, for only one more question, and I think this is a perfect one to end on. This one is a follow-up from Mini Muse, who wants to know, if you could change anything about Melee, what would it be, and why is it wobbling?
Okay, first of all, it would not be wobbling. Second of all, the one thing I would change. Wait, did they say one thing I would change about Melee?
If you could change anything about Melee, so I think that implies one thing.
Well, I mean, I guess I could pick an overarching thing, which would be the character balance in the game, where I feel that certain things could be changed. Well, you know what? Pretty much, I would just make PAL the standard because I think PAL is a very balanced game. The PAL version of the game, I think, is the best version of the game. It makes more characters viable, and like Fox's up B, like you do not. It is ridiculous that when you get a Fox off the stage, you have to go into a defensive position because you don't want to get Sakurai comboed. That is ridiculous. Okay, when you get a Fox to the ledge, you have to get defensive because they have an invincible wave dash into up smash that could KO you, and you have to get defensive. That is ridiculous. So things like that need to change a little bit. PAL does a good job of that by making it so that the up smash doesn't kill you as quickly, the up B isn't as powerful, different things like that. But pretty much all I would do is I would make it the PAL version. So if Melee HD comes out, I hope to God they only make it a PAL version and they don't try to get rid of like L canceling and wave dashing, because then that could actually kill our community. So, hoping they do a good job with that if they ever do it.
I don't know if I trust anybody who says that Melee HD is coming out anymore. I've just been hurt too many times before. We've all been hurt too many times before.
Yeah,
Melee HD.
I'm still hoping, but in the end, it might be a good thing, because when they come out with Melee HD, they might decide to fuck it up somehow. So hopefully they won't.
Well, and imagine how many CRT manufacturers would go out of business. I mean, it's really just good.
Yeah.
Melee is good for the American economy.
The whole industry, yeah.
Well,
Right.
Hugo, man, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute treat to talk to you. Before we close up shop, do you have any shout-outs or anybody that you want to say what's up to before we close down?
Shout-outs to all my subs and supporters, donators. We call it DP, donator privilege, but DP doesn't mean anything else. So we got the donators, the subs, the people that are watching my stream, Brain Gear for helping me out and partnering up with me, and yeah, all my fans, all of them. Thank you all so much for supporting me, and check me out at Hugs86 on everything: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, etc.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. We really appreciate it. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Folks, if you enjoyed the show, please hit that follow button down below the Twitch window. Or if you want to throw us a little bit of support, which we sincerely appreciate, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You get access to the .fire and .fan emotes. That's a dumpster fire and shit hitting the fan. As much as we like to talk about the beauty and joy of esports, we also like to dabble in the chaos too. If you liked the video and you want to share it with your friends, it'll be up tomorrow on youtube.com/daily.esports. We're going to post this video as well as the 5 minutes with Smashers that we had at the beginning of the show, so be sure to check that out tomorrow and share it with your friends. If you want more esports coverage, not just Smash, all walks of esports life, check us out over on facebook.com/daily.esports, and then of course on Twitter at .esports. Folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. Special thanks to Hugs for coming on the show and for everybody that participated in that video at the top of the hour. I've been Ian Double John Farker. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.